You know what time it is. It's time to get jacked up for Jesus. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe to our channel. Share these videos. Like them. Dislike them if you want. But share them if you can. If this message applies to you. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about being leaders of men. Or just leaders in general. Whether you're in ministry, whether your place of employment. This isn't going to be a how-to video. I consider myself humble enough to realize that there's a lot of room for improvement when it becomes a factor of how to be a great leader. And I don't even know how to define a great leader because there's so many different factors that go into being a great leader, right? I'm a firm believer in Romans 13. That's your homework for this video. Go look at Romans 13 and authority given upon God to a leader and different things. And yes, there's leaders that God allows to be in place that are evil, twisted, and wicked people and aren't great leaders because we have this thing called free will that sometimes we select our leaders based off of many different factors. And sometimes leaders aren't selected. They're appointed. They're through patronage jobs, through fraternization or different kind of things. People come into play and they become leaders, even if they're not qualified to be leaders. It's the same as if you believe that you need approval of man to be ordained to share the word of God. Like, what makes you ordained? Is it your resume? Is it how many different places you've worked at or served at? With being ordained, you go to different bounce from this church to that, and you got this great experience, and you believe that your ambition has put a calling on your life. Well, ambition can be your enemy. It can be your friend, but ambition can also be your enemy, because through your ambition, you believe that you're a great leader. Well, to be a great leader, or to work towards being a great leader, ambition is part of it, to have that strive, but really can be that falling or tripping point in your career, professional, personal, ministry life. First thing you have to do is humble yourself as a great leader. Be willing to get into those trenches, get yourself dirty, and build that reputation amongst the people in your ministry, your fellow employees, and understand what they're going through, and have a lead by an example mentality, even if you fail, and take responsibility for that failure. And that's also a key, is to be able to take that responsibility and not push that responsibility onto somebody else, which we see so many leaders today do that. It's always somebody else's factor or fault, or we're looking to hold other people accountable that are underneath them instead of saying, hey, the buck stops with me. So, what does it take? And please leave your comments on this page, because I'm not an expert, but if there's some things that we can discuss about being a great leader in your place of employment, at home, a ministry, a church, motorcycle club, different factors that make you a great leader. Is it about your characteristics? Is it about having some great charismatic trait that you have? What's going to make you a good leader, and not just a manager? Because there's a difference between a manager and a leader. People can manage people very easily, but can they lead people? And what I mean by leading people is you're going to lead them. Would they be willing to follow you to the end of the earth? Would they be able to do certain things? Or are they just following you because you manage them? And so many times in the workplace, like a situation that a person came and talked to me about just recently, is the morale at the workplace, and why it's just decayed so much that these people hate to even go to work, and their frontline supervisors are checking out left and right. And it starts with basically right at the very top. And to analyze the situation at the top is exactly everything that I pretty much have said here. Is you have an organization that appointed somebody, probably not qualified on paper to have that position, other than their resume look really great. You also then have people in power or authority that don't really know how to treat their staff and lead them, and they don't lead by example. For example, if when they were maybe in a position where they were an employee, they did certain things, and now that they're a leader, they turn it back around on you and say, well, that's not acceptable. Because the one thing I do know is when you're become that leader, one of those sayings that come out all the time is, well, now I'm such and such, so I can't do that anymore. Well, if you're going to identify yourself as that, then you have to take an account that you did do that before, possibly. And how am I now going to react to the people underneath me if I did that before? Do I handle that with mercy, love, and grace, or do I come down with the full hammer? Because that will break your credibility so easily if you try to come down with the hammer. How do we change the paradigm in those situations if we're trying to have a successful workplace, ministry, personal life? How do we change that paradigm if we were going one way and now we're going a different way? Do the people under us, have we communicated enough with them? Because communication is key also to being a great leader, right? So have we made that communication the best that we possibly can? Are we standing as hypocrites during that communication? Do we really then, through our communication, find out why the people that we're leading don't have morale and won't follow us to the end of the earth? Or is it their fault that they don't do it? How are we motivating the people underneath us, right? Are we a simple pushover, or are we like true dictatorship? Where do those two things lie? So it comes down with your self-assessment and your analyzing. You're analyzing yourself as you're trying to do these things. But so many times in the workplace, when you stand at the top, you become delusional, believing that your team is following you because they have great respect for you, or they're doing something because you're this great leader. And if you never take the time to truly find out why some of your people maybe right underneath you are running from you, and that your work environment has become such a bad place, or the ministry has become such a bad place, people stop showing up. Or maybe people are just going through the motions. And why are they doing that? Is it their problem, or is it your problem? And again, it starts with the people at the top, and who and how people get selected. And again, I'll go take you back to Romans 13. That will be out of your control if you're under somebody who's not a great leader, because they're going to get put in place for whatever reason possible. So I guess this video is more of a challenge to you out there if you're a leader in ministry, a leader at your work. Look within yourself first. Check out why you became a leader in the first place, how you became a leader in the first place. Were you appointed just because of your resume? Were you best friends with the so-and-so who gave you the job because you're like, well, it's a great paying job, so this, were you the second person who was selected because the first person either turned it down, or because of some personal nonsense, they didn't get the job in the first place? But it starts with you as that leader, and assessing yourself, and realizing that some of the negative stuff that is happening inside your workplace, your personal life, a ministry, church, all these different organizations you can possibly be a leader of, it might be you. It might be you. And it starts with you as a leader. The buck stops with you as a leader. So reflect upon that. Take that challenge. Read Romans 13. Leave some comments for me. Tell me the different characteristics of a great leader, different things that you like to follow, to see as a great leader. I'm always willing to learn what it takes to go next level stuff with leading people, and what it takes to make that jump from just managing people to taking the lead and having the respect of everyone underneath you because of the things that you will do, have done, and not just based on some title that you hold or have been given. Has it been earned? Has your leadership been earned? Right? So, I know this has not been your typical jacked up for Jesus video, but I want to really address leadership. And that leadership is not addressing the leadership like I'm questioning the leadership of somebody else. I'm questioning the leadership of myself or anybody else who holds a leadership position, and challenging them if they're in a position where they, number one, have low morale, number two, Your motivation of the people under you is minuscule. And number three, are you delusional thinking that there is great morale? Are you out of touch with the people that are underneath you? And then moving forward from that, if you're in that position, how do you change that paradigm from low morale to high morale? Is it you as the problem? Is it the people underneath you that's the problem? Or does the problem fall somewhere in between? So God bless you all out there. We'll see you next time when we get jacked up for Jesus.